When I lose the weight, everything's going to be different. I'm going to be out there. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be the best version of myself that I can be. Or at least that's what I used to think. But what I figured out is that losing weight is not a magic solution to insecurity. What losing weight does is it highlights what you're actually insecure about and why. But before we unpack this, welcome to the Road to Health. I'm Violet. If you're working on your mental health and your physical health because you want to have that overall sense of well-being, this is the place for you. You want to subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss a video. I lost 70 pounds, and for a lot of people that just seems like a dream, right? I'm the success story. And on some level, I do feel successful. But there's a lot of ways in which it didn't really change my life the way that I thought it was going to change my life. First of all, we have to keep in mind that if we go back in the Wayback Machine, before I gained the weight, I felt like me. I walked through the world, I was confident, and I had good self-esteem. I was a well-rounded person. And then I gained the weight after, I had my daughter. And I still felt like me. The problem was I didn't look the same. I didn't move the same. My body wasn't doing what I wanted. So although I felt like me, there was this other thing happening where I was not happy with my weight. So maybe there's shame, maybe there's insecurity brewing. Like you start to feel like a loser when you can't make something either happen or be like what it was or solve the problem that's causing chaos in your life. I obviously didn't like my appearance. And despite being in a relationship, I didn't accept these positive that I was getting. So the you look beautiful, I didn't accept it because I didn't see and I look in the mirror, I wasn't seeing what I wanted to see, even though internally I still felt like me. Wellness Warrior, one of the things that we need to keep in mind is that there is a definite difference between what I feel and how I think I am, and then what I see when I look in the mirror. And over the years of being overweight for 8+ years, I noticed that I didn't look, when I looked in the mirror, it was always the shock of like, wow, that's me. And over time, that, along with, of course, ignorant people and their stupid comments. Now, luckily, I'm not in high school, so I wasn't getting comments all the time, but I got enough of them that it stuck in my head, right? This is the way that people are seeing me. And for a little while there, it was actually impacting me. I actually cared that people made comments. I actually cared that people gave me looks. And it was hard, right? Because the once very comfortable, confident, secure person is now not sure what to do. Now, when I lost the weight, there was an interesting lack of enthusiasm from me. I noticed it. I stepped on the scale and yeah, the weight was gone. I could see it when I really took a good look at myself in the mirror. I could see it. But what was really interesting is, again, internally, I always felt the same. I'm sitting right in front of you now today, still feeling the same. Like the feeling inside didn't change. I understand when I get comments on videos where people say to me things like, I lost all this weight, but I still feel overweight inside. I still feel insecure. Because the interesting thing for me is that when I went through my journey, I always felt like the thin version of me, even though the world was like, and what I was seeing in the mirror wasn't matching. And that's the part that messed with me, is that every once in a while, because throughout the course of your day, you look in the mirror several times, and I would see this person that didn't match what was in my head, and I would get sad, and I would be disappointed. And that sadness and disappointment plays a role today. Even though I now look like what I think I look like in my head, there's still those memories of the looks people gave me. There are still those negative remembrances and feelings of the times where I couldn't do what I wanted to do. And so sometimes I hesitate to do an activity for a moment because there's that brief moment of I'm not able, and then I remember that now I can. Wellness Warrior. One of the things that's really interesting about being human is that we have this ability to jump forwards and backwards and present. Like we're always moving around in time. What I remember, what I'm looking forward to, and what's happening right now. And I want you to use that information to help yourself build confidence, build self-esteem, build yourself back up to feel good about what you're doing today. The reason that I didn't feel good enough back then was because when I looked in the mirror and I didn't like what I saw, people were saying things, all of that made me feel like I was stuck. Like I didn't know how to solve this problem. And that was the starting point of me starting to lose confidence in myself. I didn't believe I could solve the problem. Finding a healthy diet, so I did a keto diet to lose the weight, and being able to make a humongous change in my life because I committed to the healthy diet and in 5 months lost 70 pounds. The reason I was able to do it is because once I knew what the answer was, I committed to the answer and I didn't waver. I want you, Wellness Warrior, to think about the fact that either A, you don't believe that the answer is the answer, or B, you haven't committed to the answer. And for most of us, it isn't about keto being too hard. For most of us, it's about our belief in ourselves that if we stick to it and do it regularly, that we would be successful in our keto diet. It's part of the reason that I made the community that I made, because when you're in there and you're talking to other people who are doing what you're doing, the people in the wellness squad are going to help keep you on track. There's a link in the description if you're interested. What you need to do is believe in yourself that you can do this and then do it every day, because that's what I did to be successful. There's no magic here. Every day I ate a healthy keto lifestyle, and because I did that every day, it took 5 months and the weight came off. Now, I had 70 pounds to lose. If you have 100 pounds to lose, it might take you longer. If you have 50 pounds to lose, it might take you less time. If you do it religiously, strictly, like do what you say you're going to do. Now, I get questions from people because they're concerned about what happened next, right? You lose all this weight, especially if you lose more than 70 pounds, you have all this loose skin, right? Like, what do we do about it? Like now I'm insecure for a different reason. I personally, my nemesis is my belly. Like, I still feel like it's too much there. How do we deal with the fact that although we accomplished the goal, because I mean, 70 pounds is a great accomplishment, and I'm no longer trying to lose weight, but I still have belly fat that's making me uncomfortable. What do I do about that? How do I solve that? And what I want you to think about is something really interesting. From where you were before to where you are now, are you healthier? And this is a piece of information that once I started looking at it, it changed my entire perspective on this belly fat, because I'm so much healthier where I am now compared to where I was before. Doesn't mean that I don't want to solve this. But what it does help me to do is realize that if losing the rest of the body fat now leaves my belly fat highlighted, because that's what's happening, because there's no more fat here, this is noticeable. If that's what's left and that's what I need to deal with to be healthier everywhere else, that's okay. I can deal with that. I'm okay with that. I want you to look at what you've accomplished and pay more attention to that success than the few things that you're still working on, because I'm still working on it. I'm going to figure out what do I need to do now to make sure that the belly fat that I have, first of all, isn't dangerous to my health. And second of all, if I can make it less, I'd like to make it less. Will I do that at the expense of my health? Absolutely not. I've lived unhealthy before. It's not fun. I'm not looking to live unhealthy again. Everything that I do moving forward will be from the perspective of, is this healthy for me? The way that you look absolutely impacts your social life. It impacts your ability to get dates. It impacts your willingness to do things with friends, because if we're dressing up or we're going to the beach or we're like all the things that will determine, will change the kind of clothes that I need to wear. Yes, it used to impact whether or not I wanted to go do these things. So the way that you look absolutely has an impact. As today, When I go to buy a bathing suit, I'm still thinking about this area of my body. Is it because I need to think about it as much as I did back when I was 70 pounds heavier? No. But is it still in my head? Yes, because it's something I don't like about myself. Wellness warrior, I want you to understand something. If this didn't bother me, I wouldn't care if someone talked about it because I know it's there. It's because it bothers me. And we need to be careful to really try to understand the difference of that. If I'm okay about something about me, like the good example I think is the gray hair. I have gray hair. I could color it. I have enough money to color it. As you see, I get it done often, but I don't color it. And the question is why? Because I'm okay with it. I actually don't mind it. And when people ask me about it, why don't you color it? Because I have no insecurity about being older and the fact that I have gray hair. I'm not 20 anymore. I'm not 30 anymore. I'm not even 40 anymore. So the chance that I would have gray hair is quite obviously there. If you're okay with something about yourself, it's not going to be an insecurity. The reason that this is an insecurity for me is because I'm still not okay with it. Now, I will either A, get okay with it, or B, figure it out. I'm not sure which one will happen first. I'm still working on it. Up here, there's nothing to work on. I like my hair. The weight you are also impacts the kind of sports you're going to do because, first of all, if I'm uncomfortable running around or my joints hurt because I'm unhealthy and overweight, and like if I'm in a bad position, I won't be able to do as many sports. My health won't improve. Or if I'm able to do the sports but I'm shy to do the sports because I don't want people seeing me run or whatever, I feel awkward or whatever, my health won't improve. I suggest that to keep yourself on the healthier side, work out by going for walks, work out by climbing stairs, by doing things that you're at least comfortable to do. Obviously, if you have joint pain, that might still be uncomfortable. I know at some points it was for me, but I'm encouraging you to do whatever you can to stay moving, because moving is part of being healthy and we need to do it. But second of all, because if I don't let myself do it, I'm not going to improve, right? Like I actually need to do something if I want my situation to change. And the other thing that I'm going to point out is that when we are trying to improve at work, whether we want to go up the work ladder or maybe we want to find a new job altogether, if I'm not feeling comfortable in my skin, if I'm not feeling confident in my abilities because I'm doubting myself because I couldn't control how much I weigh, so how can I do anything? That happens to us. If I'm not feeling good about me, I'm not even going to try to improve my work situation. And again, I want you to think about that. That's not the best thing for you. All of these things, whether it's social, exercise, and physical, or work, if we don't address them and we don't find a way to look at it from the perspective of where am I successful in this and what am I trying to improve, rather than looking at it from the perspective of I can't control the situation, so I'm a loser. That's a bad way to look at it. Where am I successful? What am I trying to improve? That's healthy because I can look at the things I'm trying to improve and work on them. When I do this, I diminish greatly the possibility that I do the other thing that messes with us, which is self-soothing with food. That's something that will cause us to feel like we're failing and then still look at ourselves like the loser that's overweight. Once you've lost the weight, wellness warrior, it doesn't solve everything, because these things I'm talking about today, they're psychological. They're about how you think, about how you engage your world. It's about how you problem solve. And what I'm trying to encourage you to do is to learn to problem solve from the perspective of looking directly at any problem that's in front of you and addressing it. Addressing it with practical, actionable things that I can do to try to solve the problem. And if it doesn't work, try something else. We aren't born with insecurities. Insecurities happen because other people have a tendency to do or say things that cause us to second guess ourselves. And today, what I'm trying to get you to see is that the answer to that is truly looking at the information that we get from other people and deciding, first of all, is it even true? And if it's true, like, yes, I was overweight. What can I do about it? That's part two. For me, it took years before I found what I could do about it. I'm trying to give that to you guys earlier. Eating a healthy keto lifestyle, eating low carb, under 20 grams of carbs every day, that's what you can do to improve your health. That's what I did, and it worked, right? I tried low fat, I tried a bunch of exercise. What worked was eating under 20 grams of carbs every day. And that's all you really need to do a healthy keto lifestyle. To stay committed to it, that's a whole other story, right? You might need support for that. Check out the description for the link to the community. But what I know for sure is that if you value other people's opinions more than you value the work, the effort, and the goals that you have for yourself, you're always going to feel insecure. You're always going to feel like you can't achieve what you want to achieve. Everything can be changed when we decide to do something different, to change it. If we do the same thing, we get the same results. If you're working on improving your self-esteem and self-confidence after weight loss, check out this video. Click on the link. I'm going to meet you over there.